Hummingbird's having a drink. It looks like we messed up that feeder. Last time I refilled it, I twisted the stand, so he's having to like lean over. Like he's like looking at me like, dude, why did you mess up my feeder? Off he goes, chirping away. Anyway, so I came out to take a peek at the plants today and see how things were going, see if any of the new stuff that I planted yesterday had come up, and they haven't. And just to check on the radishes. Some of them have kind of a pale yellow color intruding, and it's kind of going from the base out towards the dark edge of the leaf. I don't know if that's just part of the process when see, if you'll notice the little guy in the middle is kind of splitting the two cotyledon leaves apart. That's where the new growth is going to come out. There's going to be a stem come out of there and some leaves, and so that's kind of starting to happen on most of these plants are getting to that stage. But some of them have kind of a pale yellow coming out, like the tips are still green, but the middle is yellow. And if that's not because the new growth is, taking the nutrients from these leaves, then it's possible that there's like there's a chemical imbalance. There's a deficiency, some mineral deficiency for the plants. I know in big systems, the people will add iron, chelated iron, and calcium hydroxide and potassium hydroxide, or just potassium powder, like from a vitamin store, as a supplement. I know you can just add it straight and it works, and in low concentrations it doesn't bother the fish at all. The iron has to be chelated. You can't just like stick some nails in there and let them rust. The rusted iron oxide, which rust is just oxidized iron, but iron oxide is not, the plants won't make use of that. It'll just sit in the water, which is no good for anybody. Rust in the water, fish won't like it. It'll make it red and cloudy and gross, and it's just no good. So but chelated iron, which is treated, it's chemically treated somehow, such that it won't oxidize, and that stuff is taken up by the plants and no problem. So I might need to add some iron. I might need to add some calcium hydroxide or some potassium to this. I'll do some investigation tonight online and post again. But I guess also I could just wait and see what happens with the new growth. I expect, from now till tomorrow there'll be a pretty dramatic change. I think the new growth is going to start busting through pretty quick, and we should see some good stuff. There were a couple of the plants that were too close together, so I ate one of them, and it tasted really good. These radishes have a great flavor, nice spicy flavor. No progress yet on these. I only planted them about 20 hours ago, something like that. I'm not too concerned, but not gestation. That's vertebrates and stuff gestate. What do plants do? Germinate. There's no germination yet, or at least nothing visible. I didn't dig in to see if the things were sprouting or not, but anyway, it's fairly warm and wet, and then that's really all it takes for seeds to germinate, unless they're a dud. So hopefully in the next day or two they'll pop through, and hopefully in the next day or two I'll see some of the plants that I planted, the green beans, the okra, bell pepper, etc., that I planted in here. I'd like to see some action from those guys. But anyway, plants going good. The chemicals look about right. I actually have decided to stop adding ammonia because it's Thursday now, and I'm planning on getting some fish on Saturday. So when that happens, we don't want ammonia in the water. That'd be hard on the fish. But The bacteria seem to be doing their thing. I might add just a little bit, just so that the bacteria have food to continue to increase their population. I don't want to stymie their growth or kill them by starving them for a couple days. So I'll go ahead and add a little bit of ammonia maybe tonight, but then that'll be it. And then that'll get all consumed before Saturday. Because I went to a couple fish stores. I went to one that's pretty close. It's just kind of a mall, like just a typical, open to the elements store that you'd see just on the side of a highway in a little shopping area. And it was just like a garden pond / aquarium store. And they had a really nice display with like a dozen different tanks full of goldfish of various sizes and breeds. And I liked that store quite a bit. I think the kids can walk by and look at the fish and see them swimming around and see their colors and pick which one that they want. And I like that quite a bit. There were two varieties that I think looked good to me. There was like a regular comet goldfish with kind of a swoopy tail, and they're orange with white in various patterns. Each fish is a little bit distinct, and I think that's cool. They were fairly plain but pretty and unique to one another. So I think the kids could tell them apart, so they could identify their fish, since each kid's going to have one. There'll be 6 in the tank. But there's also like a shubican or something like that. They're like calico. They're really pretty. They've got lots of different speckles and colorations and stuff. And there was one that was really cool. It had a dark eye. And I asked the owner about it, and he said that it wasn't like the eye wasn't gone. It wasn't bad. It could probably see out of both eyes just fine. That typically this is just a pigment thing. They're kind of a calico by nature, and skin pigment in that area can sometimes affect the color of the white part, the white part of the eye, the non, like the iris, I guess is what you might call it. But anyway, so this one fish in particular, it was like a very dark eye. You couldn't tell that there was a pupil at all. But anyway, I thought it looked cool. I was just sad. I thought maybe the fish was blind in that eye, but the guy tells me that's probably not the case. There's no way to tell for sure. You can't tell what the fish sees necessarily. And even by trying to do some kind of motion tech, to see if it notices something from far away, like they react to other fish in the tank, and they react to shadows and reflections, and so it'd be hard to say that it was just that eye, So, but anyway, he indicated that he didn't think it was a problem. That fish had no problem eating, finding food and eating it, and it got around just fine without crashing into things. So, as far as he knew, this wasn't uncommon in this particular breed of goldfish, and I don't know if they're species or breed. I guess it's. I don't know. I might look it up, but I don't know if goldfish are like dogs, like where there's different breeds of them, or if the different kinds are literally different species. But anyway, we're going down a path that's completely unnecessary here. The point, I guess, is that this Saturday we're going to go fish shopping, and there should be 6 fish swimming around in there. I'll probably pull the paper off, at least the front part, because it'd be fun to watch, and it's a new thing. I haven't decided if I want to stick any synthetic plants in there for them to have, or if I think they'll be okay just floating around in the water. Some people put little structures for them to hide in and stuff, so I might do that too. I might put in, I don't have anything on hand per se, but I've got some 4-inch PVC that I've got 10 feet of it and not much to do with it. That's what that outside portion of that drain is. So I might cut a couple of those and bury them in the rock a little. That'll at least give them a cave to go into if they're shy. But the fish at the store were pretty cool. When I was there, like up near the tank, they thought I was going to feed them. So they was very active and stuff. So when the kids are there, the fish will similarly react, I think, and be swimming around, and it'll be a good experience for them. The other store that I went to was down by Carrie and Tony's house, actually, about 2 blocks away. As it turns out, it's kind of crazy that store is right next to their place, but it was mostly a koi. The name of the place is Koshi Koi, so it was mostly a koi fish place. They had big tanks full of koi of all sizes, from little tiny fingerlings, no bigger than that hummingbird there, even smaller maybe, to 2-foot long monsters. They had them separated by size. That's important for 2 things. One, I guess the fish will maybe attack each other or eat each other if they're small enough. The big ones might eat the little ones. I don't think they discriminate. They don't mind cannibalism at all, but they've got to separate them from that. But then also for pricing purposes, they could just label, this tank costs X dollars per fish, and that tank costs X dollars per fish, and whatnot. But they had some goldfish, but not many. There was only like 2 tubs, and it was hard to kind of like see them. I think especially for the kids, it'd be hard for them to pick a fish out, I guess, like if you were just going to get a dozen goldfish and you didn't care, then that'd be fine. But in this particular case, I think the other shop is better. So I think that's where we'll go. Anything else? Nothing really, I think. Just can't tell by the frequency of my posting, like the fact that everything is going pretty well here has me all excited, and I can't I'm just can't stop thinking about this stuff, and so I'm making more videos than I probably need to. This probably isn't all that interesting, but anyway, hopefully we'll start seeing some interesting growth in this tub, and those 6 leafy green varieties will pop out of their little cubes in the next day or 2, and then in 2 days, hopefully, we'll have some fish floating around in that tank, and that's going to be fun. I've never had an aquarium before. My folks had, my dad was an animal dude, and he had aquariums when he and my mom were together back before my siblings and I existed, but we never had fish when I was a kid. We had a couple birds and a couple dogs, but no fish. So I've always thought it would be interesting to do, and I'm kind of looking forward to that, getting to hang out with the fish. Man, that's a loud vehicle. Holy cow. So anyway, that's all.